Now I'd like to show you something else that's interesting and adjustable. This is the carburetor slide that I'm holding. If you will notice, there is a number right on top of that slide. What that number corresponds to, what it tells is on this certain slide how much this opening is right here. Okay? You can get different slides, just like different jet needles, for your carburetor right here to adjust your performance. So there's a lot of adjustments that can be made. We can adjust the jet, the slide, the jet needle, the pilot jet, and you can adjust your throttle. You cannot adjust your floats right here. They can be manually adjusted right here, but they cannot be adjusted for performance. They can only be adjusted to get to the right height. And if you want the right height for your carburetor, the best thing to do is go to a website, or Mikuni will have a little tiny tool that you can stick right in here, and it will tell you the approximate height. Usually this is never adjusted. Never. Because all it is basically a valve that controls how much fuel and how high it is in the float bowl at all times. So the fuel is there when you need it for wide open throttle or going around a corner when the fuel sloshes up to one side or the other. That's what that's for. Then we have these little, usually carbs have one or two of them. It's a little tiny vent right here. And you've seen the vents with different hoses and lines on them and everything. And there's one on the other side here. These cannot be clogged. These are overflow vents. Also, what they are is, as the fuel is used up in the carb or float bowl, air has to come in. I mean, you have to have an ambient, it can't be a vacuum in there. That's why you have vent holes. Also, the vent holes will let the overflow of the fuel if you have a stuck float bowl, which is another common problem that I want to talk about. The float bowl right here, like I said, it's a valve. Say like on this smaller carburetor, you can see right down in here, right in there, that right there is a direct line from this fuel intake right here. It goes from here and it stops right there as a valve. Now the way the valve works, and it works the same on all of them. They may have a little bit different hardware, a little bit bigger, smaller, same thing. What we have here is a little needle valve. Has a little spring on the top. What we do is we stick it in there like so. And you can see where it fits. Now the float fits over the top here, right here, and this small plastic piece on the inside rides on that little tiny spring pin that's on the valve. Now when the gas gets full, what happens is the float rises or goes that way towards the top of the carb. When it gets to a certain level, what it does is it shuts the valve off. It pushes it closed. Now as the fuel comes out, as fuel gets low, the float lowers itself and more fuel is added until it gets to a point in the carburetor where it's had enough. And that's what it does. It's a very simple, accurate way of doing things. All right, now we're going to get on to stuck float bowls.